Hello, fantasy football fans. Putting together a little overall fantasy football update for week 12. It's a little delayed due to some holiday festivities and that sort of thing, but just trying to kind of sort out as we get started for the playoff push how things are going to go. So you'll notice this first, I'm going to work from my spreadsheets rather than from Sleeper, just because Sleeper doesn't work as well on the PC. When we get to Yahoo and we get to ESPN, those few leagues I've got in there, I'll pop over on those on the screen. But I kind of like my spreadsheets for the Sleeper leagues. The first thing I'll just point out, I made a whole video about this team, and I doubt I will do so every week. It'll probably be maybe an end of season wrap up. I'll do specifically on this team. But I'll go ahead and start including it, I guess, in my weekly overall fantasy football updates. I jumped into a league where I don't think we're really taking this year that seriously. I think we're building into next year, and I was assigned the Colts, the entire Colts roster, including all of the defensive players. So you start 25 players every week, including a couple of quarterbacks, a couple of running backs. You start, 3 defensive linemen, 3 defensive backs, 3 linebackers. If you independent individual defensive player flexes, you've got a pretty deep bench. I think there's 53 spots. I think it's 53 roster spots. So if you watch the video on this, I'll tell you kind of what my process has been. I've made some trades that I found to be pretty interesting. I've also, just for the record, someone put Cam Ward on the trade block, and I have sent them some draft picks trying to get another quarterback. I feel like if I can get 3, that sets me apart from all the rest of these teams. The problem, of course, is you only start 2 quarterbacks out of your 25 spots, and typically teams are going to have their own starter and their own backup. They're not going to have 2 starters, and I'm trying to make it to where, regardless of the week, I have 2 starting quarterbacks, so that'll just give me a little edge on everybody. The Colts were the second leading scoring team last week and exceeded expectations by a mile. We scored like 850 points. Not sure if that scoring system is going to stay the same, but we were the best overachiever of the week, best defensive overachiever of the week. And that was the Colts. So you start all these individual Colts defenders, but you also still start the Colts defense / special teams as a unit itself. And it crushed. It scored a ton of points. So maybe there's a glitch there, and maybe that's why we're waiting till next year to take it seriously. I don't know. I have sent out a few other small trade offers. Again, what I keep doing is picking up players off the waiver wire or out of free agents and then sending out those players for like a 3rd round pick, or maybe I'll send a player and a 3rd for a 2nd, try and move up. Again, it's a 32 team league, so a 3rd round pick is going to be, pick 65 at best. So those are not really worth that much. And so anyway, I'm trying to just move up, whatever year from 3rd to 2nd I can. I actually do have 2 first round picks in every year. But again, I've offered at least one of those to a team for Cam Ward. So we'll see how that goes. Don't want to really spend a ton of time on that one. Let's jump to this one. This one's gonna. Well, actually, no. This will take some time, but that wasn't the order in which I had these. I wrote a note on here to update you guys on my Guillotine League. Lowest scoring team each week gets cut. Their players go back into the waiver wire. Whoever survives gets to go feeding frenzy off of all those players if they have fab money. By the way, on this team, I only have $2 of fab money left, so I am not going to be involved in any feeding frenzies. I'm usually trying to snipe some of those guys that are getting cut during those frenzies for $1. But this week, I decided not to put in any transactions. It paid off. I finished 4th out of 7, and just for the record, since this week's already started, I'm 4th out of 6 this week. So I didn't really see a need to make a transaction, so I didn't. But I'm on the bottom half, and at some point I'm going to probably, again, have to make a move. I do think the time maybe for trading is over. I think the people with Fab are not going to be willing to give people without Fab any money. So you're probably stuck with what you got. But I did survive, so I guess I'll be updating you at least one more week on that. My hope is, again, once that league is over, I will not do another guillotine league, and I will not do another survivor pool. Those are too stressful. I do not like them. So yeah, that's where that is. Little family league here. This one has the best record among teams that I have, I think, that really matter anyway. This one actually is a small money league, so there's a little money involved. This team is 10-2. They have already clinched the number 1 seed, so there will be a bye, and then we only need to win the 2 weeks at the end to win it all. So definitely have the Bijan Robinson Jonathan Taylor combo, and that has been working out. One of the disadvantages of doing these videos is sometimes I think I'm going to jinx that because I'm sitting here saying it out loud, but hopefully those guys stay healthy, and we have more news on Bijan actually when we get to another team. But just know that so far that combo has been lethal. That is for sure. By the way, even though we have clinched a number 1 seed and we are 10-2, we are only 3rd in scoring in that league. So that does leave a little window for someone to sneak up and catch us laying an egg, which is typically what happens to me when I have a team that dominates all year, is we get a sour week at the end and throw it away. But we'll see how that goes, I guess. But that one, I've already started looking ahead to some defensive teams for semifinals and finals weeks and see if I can pick those guys up. I think the Steelers might have been out there, might have been this league, I can't remember, but Steelers have a good matchup in the playoffs this year. So look ahead in your leagues, and if you've got some things locked up, then maybe start using a bench spot or two to grab that defense for the end of the year, or handcuff your guys. If you've got Bijan Robinson and you don't have Algier, you probably should, especially if you've got some stuff locked up. So that's something I'll be looking into as well. Let us jump to, this is the team that we should talk a little bit about. Notice Bijan Robinson up here on my spreadsheet. He has started 42 weeks for me. So we are in the running down toward the end of the 3rd season of this Dynasty League. And I have had Bijan Robinson for almost 3 full seasons. He is no longer green on my sheet because I have traded him away. In essence, I got 3 first-round picks for him. And those in the lore of this league just know I've traded him away once before for 3 first-round picks. And then it came back around, I traded back for him for less than that. So now I've traded him basically for Caleb Johnson, who has been a huge disappointment for the Steelers this year, but he was a first-round pick last year. I also get 2 first-round picks in this coming spring's draft. The problem, if there is a problem, is they're both going to be pretty low picks. The guy who ended up with Bijan also has Gibbs, and so he is probably the favorite now to win it. That means that pick will likely be the last pick of the first round. But I did get another first-round pick from him from a likely playoff team. So it'll be 2 second-half first-round picks, and what I intend to probably do with those is try to move up. I don't have my first-round pick, and I've already messaged the guy who has that pick, which, by the way, he will likely have the top 2 picks in the draft. His pick will be number 1. There's a decent chance now that mine will be number 2. So if he has the first 2 picks, I told him, I said, look, I've got 2 coming up toward the end of the first round. I'm very happy to work a deal to move up. And he said he would look me up. So unless he just wants 2 players at the top, I'm probably going to be able to get my pick back. And I kind of want it. I don't even know who I'm really targeting yet. I haven't gotten that far in my process, but very likely I need to do a little rebuild. I know it seems crazy to trade Bijan Robinson right now, but I'm a huge believer in get out early rather than late. I had Derrick Henry this year for 1 week only because I needed him for the bye, and I traded him immediately. And I feel like that's probably the way I'm going to look at it almost always. Now, Bijan's pretty young. So there's a decent chance that this guy's going to get some use out of him, for not just next year, but maybe even a couple of years after that. But that's also why I get 3 first-round picks, because whoever I'm going to get, I'm also going to get that. Plus, I'll get maybe some more. So that's the way I'm looking at it. One other less exciting trade, I traded away Kenneth Walker, which did mean I didn't really have any good running backs left. And I was taking some heat for that in the chat. And I said, look, I'm 4-8. These guys haven't done enough to help me. So I'm not really taking a huge risk here. But that does mean I'm probably in that draft. If there are some heavy running back prospects, I'm probably looking at those guys. So traded away Bijan, traded away Walker. For Walker, I got a couple of second-round picks. And I guess I should throw in, just for the sake of this archive here, with the Bijan trade, I got Caleb Johnson. With the Walker trade, I got Luther Burden. So I got 2 pretty good rookies from this year, in addition to whatever picks I got. So I got younger. If these guys pop, which I still believe in Caleb Johnson, I think he will, then it all works out. Plus again, whoever I get. And I'll just tell you now, if you're not a follower of any of my leagues, if you're not in any of my leagues, first of all, thanks for watching, because that's really cool of you. But when the draft comes, I absolutely love moving up and down. I'll move up, I'll move down. People know that. They reach out to me thinking, they can make a deal with me, and they're usually right. I don't always accept the deals that come, but I typically will counter with something pretty reasonable, and most of my trade offers get accepted. I would say most of them do. So we can go into a video sometime maybe on my trade process, but my grizzled veteran on this team now is Chiggy Okonkwo, who I did acquire in a trade. And he's only started 17 weeks for me out of 3 years. So I guess I've technically only had him 2. But that's the longest tenured player on my team. For the record, I did have Patrick Mahomes. I now have Bo Nix. He was part of a Bo Nix deal, so I'm fine with that. Ever since I traded Mahomes, he has just been lighting it up. And, of course, when I had him, he wasn't doing that. I also traded Egbuka. I knew there was another trade that happened here. I had put on the league that I was not going to trade him because he is just a stud, and I was really happy to have him. Guy offers me again. Actually, I think Luther Burden was part of that Egbuka trade, but offers me some draft capital again. So I have a lot of pieces I can move around and try to get really just kind of who I want, I guess. Here's Egbuka right here. So I kept looking for him on my spreadsheet and couldn't find him. So, he started 11 weeks for me since I picked him. And I got Luther Burden, plus I got some more. I think I got a number 1 pick for 2027 is what I got. And then... So I've got lots of number 1 picks for this year, too. I think 2 number 1 picks for next year, or the year 26 and 27, and fully intend to use those to just keep building. There was some debate in the chat about, are you trying to go 14-0, or are you trying to go 7-7 and then make moves to make a run? I definitely fall in the go 7-7, make moves to make a run, which is what I did last year, and I won it. This year now I'm sitting at 4-8. I think I'm out of it. I think you get rid of basically assets that can get hurt or retire or get arrested or whatever they do, and get assets that cannot get hurt, retire, or get arrested, which is picks. So it's just fun. That's just the way I like to do it. Let's jump into some other notes here. Let's see if there's anything else I had. I also traded Franklin and picked up Ayome Nor and Burden as well. And then I also got Egbuka. So I picked up some rookies. I picked up a lot of picks. And basically the guys trying to make a run were picking my team clean. And I'm okay with that. That's what I did last year. So I have 2 first-rounders next year, 3 second-rounders next year. This is 2026. And I will be looking to trade up. Here is a league that I do a separate video on. I'm 6-6 going into this week. Probably already going to lose this week. I lost St. Brown on Thanksgiving Day. Got to go 7-7 to make the playoffs, I think, and I'm not sure it's going to happen. I think I do have a favorable matchup the last week of the season, so I might sneak in at 7-7, but I do not expect this team to make much noise, especially without St. Brown. I think he was pretty much my only golden ticket, and it is pretty much punched, I think. So won't spend a whole lot of time on Hoopton. I will say love for the Packers. He definitely helped me out a lot. And I was the least efficient manager this week, by the way, which means I left the most points on the bench. And I won. That is a rare combination. Here is my second-year dynasty team. And interestingly enough, we were 2-12. And for some reason, I cannot find this on my spreadsheet. There it is. We are now 11-13, so we have gone 9-1 after going 2-12. So now all of a sudden we're in it. I did make a trade for Cortland Sutton. I did make a trade for Chris Godwin. That one's a pretty risky one, I'll just admit. And the sad part is I traded away Jackson Smith-Njigba, who has been having an outstanding season, and I was 2-12 with him. And the second I trade him away, now I'm winning. So there's something to be said for that. If you've got a top-heavy team with just one guy doing it, you've got to maybe use that to spread around some points and shake things up. And so now I'm 11-13. I am favored to win this week. But this league also plays against the league average, and I really need to beat both the average and my opponent and get to 13-13 going into the last week so I can maybe find myself in the playoffs. We'll see. That would be a massive turnaround if that happens. That is for sure. So last week I did beat my opponent, but I did not beat the average, which is, that would have been really nice to be 12-12 right now. We had the lowest points in a win, and we had the narrowest victory. So this team is getting a little bit lucky. But even if this team doesn't do anything in the playoffs, I would love for it to make it because it has been an uphill climb. We had the third pick last year in the draft because our team sucked. We were well on our way to the second or third pick this year. But now we're kind of in the middle of the pack. We're trying to look to make a move and get into that playoff chase. So if we can win this week, we've got probably a win and get in situation for that last week. Here is a team that's a little upsetting again just because, I had St. Brown on this team. So one of the things I do is I like to diversify my rosters. And so, for example, this team is not having that St. Brown problem right now because going into the draft last year, I traded him away. And St. Brown's one of my favorite guys, but the guy offered me too much. I couldn't say no. So I guess maybe lucky for me, I don't have to deal with the St. Brown situation, but I do at 5-7 really need to win the next 2 weeks to get in. And I can't really understand why this team is 5-7. This one's been a little bit frustrating. We are looking this week at a win, projected anyway. And if we can get that, then there's a fairly decent chance going into the last week it's a win and get in scenario. So I can tell you now, 6-6 is typically my goal at this point in the season. After 12 weeks, that's where I want to be. And so that's all you can ask. But the trick is once you're at that 6-6, then you get hot, go 4-0, win the whole thing. And none of my teams really have that vibe about them. So we'll see how that goes. This next one really is kind of interesting in that we won. We were in the last playoff spot. We won week 12, and we actually slipped down one spot to 9 and out of the playoffs because total points is the tiebreaker, and we were literally less than 1 point on the season total outside of the playoffs. This team is, now that Lamar Jackson laid an egg on Thanksgiving Day, probably not looking great. So it's probably going to be 6-7, and once again, maybe win and get in next week. I was really hoping to be 7-6 and kind of have something locked up, but that does not appear to be the case. We'll see how it goes the rest of this week. I am currently, by the way, in a championship rematch of season one. So I was the runner-up season one. I'm playing the guy who won season one. Last year, I traded him, Christian McCaffrey, for some draft capital. And I ended up with that draft capital with Quinshon Judkins, R.J. Harvey, Tyler Warren. I ended up with a lot of really, really good players. So I have a great young team in that league, and it deserves to be in the playoffs. It really does. The fact that I'm having to struggle is, again, kind of a mystery to me. But that team I plan on keeping together. The only thing I will say is Lamar Jackson is very likely going into the draft next year a trade candidate. I don't know what my quarterback plan would be, but I will come up with one. And if it's a viable one, by the way, I have Shedeur Sanders on my taxi squad. Don't know if that's really the plan, but if I come up with somebody, there's a chance Lamar ends up traded because he has been really disappointing the end of this season, and sometimes he's just a head case, man. I don't like him. But I inherited him with this team, and I actually turned down some trade offers early on. It might be time to start kind of generating that back up. So really, really average week in week 12. But I definitely played a schlub, and it helped because I just crushed him. So really hoping this week I can pull it out. If not, I'm not dead yet. But man, I'm not going to be sitting pretty. I'm going to be playing a really good team when we get to the playoffs. So we'll see how that goes. That may cover all of the sleeper teams. So why don't we jump over to Yahoo. And while we're looking here is a family league. And again, this one's not very serious. There's no money in it. I'm 7-5. I'm in 5th place. But I am second in points. So again, I don't know. I'm beginning more and more to like those leagues that more rotisserie style. Maybe it should just be points, or at least play against the league average every week, so that if you are losing to everybody's best week, you're at least not going winless. You can beat the average every week. I don't know. This one's been a little disappointing. I did win this league last year, and I did get Joe Burrow back this week. In fact, I drafted him in the 5th round. He got hurt week 2 or 3. I cut him because I've been using my IR spot for other things, and I was able to reacquire him. I was able to waiver wire him back. So I started him this week, and he did okay. CeeDee Lamb crushed it. Chase Brown crushed it. This team is going to do some damage, I think, in the playoffs, but it's been real frustrating watching it go 7-5. But so, I'll take it. We have clinched a playoff spot. If we go to the league page here, we're in the 5th seed, and we have a little asterisk over here, which means we have clinched a spot. So we don't need to worry about will we make it or will we won't. But I don't think we're going to do a bye week in that one, that's for sure. This is the second team I have named Absurdly Grim Bus Safety Video. Number 1, because it's hilarious. And number 2, it's on a different platform. It's on Yahoo, so I don't really get them confused. Sat through the Rashee Rice suspension, and that's been paying off. I like it. Not really a whole lot of action on Thanksgiving Day. Projected to win, but not by much. And for the record, I don't necessarily have to. This team is in the number 1 seed. We have won a bunch straight, so it wouldn't necessarily bother me to end that streak and see about getting out of that win streak before we get to the playoffs. That's for sure. But this team is number 1 in points by a pretty good margin. It allows for no tight ends and an extra running back, and I always go that route. I always start the extra running back and not the tight end, and it works out pretty well. So, yeah, we've won 6 in a row. We're playing the second place team. He really probably needs this win. This team's regular season, by the way, goes to week 15. So we got a little extra time before I really get things locked down. But I have looked at some defense stuff for the playoffs, and really hoping I get that bye week. And this is a league, again, I have just dominated. At least two championships in 7 years. I think 4 second place finishes. So in 7 years, I've been in the Super Bowl 6 times. And I think I finished 3rd that other year. So have always done pretty well in this league, and really looking to continue that. Just kind of hoping that it stays that way. Trade deadline in this league is now, and I don't plan on making any moves there. Let's jump over to ESPN. Another frustrating league. This is one I'm running with a family member. We cannot catch a break. We're 7-5. We're in third place. I would love to stay there, but we're already a little bit behind the 8 ball now because, again, we lost St. Brown. This is why I traded him away in the one league that I traded him. If you get overinvested in one player and they go down, it affects everything. So anyway, this team doesn't have to have the win. But I really think it's a better than a 7-5 team. I really do, and can't quite figure out why. Quarterback struggles this year. We're starting C.J. Stroud this week. We're streaming quarterbacks. We had Jaden Daniels. He's not playing this week. We will probably sneak in a Jaden Daniels pickup Sunday morning because I imagine he'll be back next week. And I don't want to go to waivers on him. I'll probably try and sneak in there right before kickoff on Sunday and pick up Jaden Daniels. We do have Trey Benson on IR, and he was kind of scheduled to come back, but he's not. That's another guy I think that's going to help us out, though, in the future. We did pick up Devin Neal, who I think might be a sneaky little pickup here the rest of the season, so we'll see how that goes. Again, I don't think we're necessarily in danger of not making the playoffs here. We've won 3 in a row. We were sitting at 3-4 and kind of, or 4-5 and in kind of rough shape there for a bit. And then we kind of started climbing up, and now we might catch a hard luck loss here. But we're 92% to make the playoffs. I think 6 teams make the playoffs. And like I said, now we would be in the 3 seed. I was really hoping and think this team deserved to be in the 1 or the 2 to get a bye. But does not look like that's necessarily going to happen now. Here is a very meaningless league that I can't really put my finger on how it all kind of came together the way it did, but I might be the only one paying attention in this league. I'm not sure. It does have the Bijan Jonathan Taylor combo, which is kind of cool, and 10-1, first place. Looks like we're kind of behind this week, but not too worried about that one. If we get a bye, we'll try to win it. That's what we always do. This one is the very unusual league. This is Evil Forces in a Bozo Nightmare. Everybody makes the playoffs. So if you'll notice when we go to standings, it says 100% on everybody over here. I am 6-6, which again, I feel like this team should be better than that. We've got a CPU team up here that's 8-4. That's probably going to win it all. If I haven't said that already on a video, I will reiterate that. But everybody's going to make it. So you just got to get into that bloodbath at the end and then do the best you can and see how it shakes out. So right now it looks like we're in decent shape. I have more teams this year where I'm really kind of on that playoff bubble. And I'm used to being in the position of, got some stuff locked up and looking ahead. And I don't really have that on too many teams so far this year. So, that's the best we can do this year. That's fine. I'm really excited for the draft next year. In fact, on my spreadsheets, I have a little... I love Dynasty Leagues now. They're probably my favorite thing. I've already got my 5 teams here that have draft picks next year, and this is the team where we traded Bijan, we traded Egbuka, and we traded Kenneth Walker, and we've got draft capital just for days. These yellow ones I've already marked to be traded away because I can tell you once you get to a certain point, 5 or 6 draft picks, it's hard to find, even with a taxi squad sometimes, it's hard to find roster space. So I will trade some of that away if I can, or package some of that stuff to move up, which is very likely a plan. So, put a lower second with a third to move up into a higher second, stuff like that. So, definitely don't need this 4th round pick. I'll probably try and find somebody I can pass that off to for maybe a future 4th round pick or something like that. But pretty excited for the draft this spring already. And that, that stuff doesn't even really happen. The NFL draft will happen, I think, in like April or May. And then we don't really get started with these rookie drafts until the summer, specifically, June, July. And then in August, you're doing all your redraft leagues. So you do try to get your rookie drafts done a little bit early, so you can have time to prep for your redraft leagues. But spreadsheets, man, they make the world go around. If you ever wonder how to organize your thoughts or figure out your, what your assets are worth, that sort of thing, man, put them on a spreadsheet. As soon as we get the final year standings, I'll be able to put the exact picks that these are. So I'll know if they're high second or low second, that sort of thing. I can Google a trade a chart to kind of give me an idea of where I think the value on those picks are. But, it kind of depends on how the draft is going. And there are those guys that if they start slipping, it's probably a good idea to package some stuff and move up to get them. So it's fun, and I really, really like it. So that is your Week 12 update for overall fantasy football action. And again, as the playoffs get going and stuff, we'll start talking about what our strategies are as far as trying to win the trophies, because I am definitely about trying to win the trophies. That's for sure. Until next week, you guys stay safe.